On February 1st, 2024, I was laid off from my first full-time design job. I was making $2,700 per month. In March, I started my freelance business, MMG Design, which is a web design and marketing agency that I founded on my own. My first month in March, I made $2,400, so 300 less. And I had to refund a client $750, which would have given me the satisfaction of beating my total at the job, but more on that later. In April, 2 months, I made $4,700 the next month. In May, $2,800. In June, I made a grand total of $1,100. But hang on, we're not done. In July, I made $3,400 from 4 clients. August, $4,750 from 6 clients. September, $1,800 from 3 clients. And at this time, my self-talk was a little bit rough. But back in October, $3,700 from 8 clients. And finally, closing out the year, bringing us to where we are now at the end of 2024. November, I made $6,780, and in December, $6,854. If you're listening on the podcast, you can head over to YouTube to see all of these screenshots that I've attached with this opening. But I am not special. I am not exceptional. I dove into freelance and design, founding my company the 1st of February, 2024, the day I got laid off, and built a freelance business starting at 0 clients. And I have aged a lot this year. I have learned a lot, but there's so many things that I could have used to fast track that in terms of networking, content, how I branded myself, and everything that I did in my first full year of freelance, which we're not there yet. We still have 2 more months. And like I said, I am not exceptional. I am not a coach. This is just an honest reflection if you are thinking about freelancing or building a marketing or design business, what you can expect in your first year. So we're going to get into the strategies that I would do differently, things that I wasted a ton of time on, and my biggest recommendations for not just getting clients, but what I would tell to that kid that was crying in the parking lot on February 1st of 2024, and to fast track that path to where we got now. So we're going to dive right in. Okay, so I want to say to anybody listening that I am not wealthy. I am not the most successful. I may not even be in a place to give any sort of advice when it comes to money or building a business. But I will say that coming from where I was at that low point to where I am now, I'm in a much better place. And every month in freelance and building a business, it is a fight to the teeth. You have to kill what you eat. And if you're the kind of person that finds that energizing and you're willing to put in the work, then this is the podcast for you. And like I said, I'm not a coach. These are literally just my lessons of going through and doing a yearly reflection as I do every year to kind of unpack my biggest lessons. So if you are just starting a business, and whether it was very sudden in terms of when you had to get started, maybe you were laid off too. I think this applies most specifically to B2B and marketing. So if you want to build a freelance career, you're working with other businesses or business owners, you can start to build a brand around doing your own thing. That's who I think this advice would apply the most specifically to. And I will also add that my relationship with money used to be very, very unhealthy. And there's a lot of stuff that I'm working on. And part of me sharing these numbers is a way to get over that in my own right. And I have actually, if you are listening to the podcast, again, I posted on YouTube for the last 6 months, a monthly retro going over all of my finances, leads, opportunities, proposals, how much I make, profit loss, expenses, everything that I'm doing as a business owner and marketer in 2024. And I'm going to be continuing that every month. So make sure you subscribe to YouTube to go check those out. But the biggest lesson that I have learned as I go through and unpack these is that money is going to occur as a byproduct, especially in the months where I was scraping the bottom of the barrel, making just enough to, cover my base expenses. I was very focused on myself and not adding value to clients. I was focused on sending proposals, trying to charge more, being aggressive, and really not having my priorities aligned in terms of how I was going to make money. And if I could give the biggest piece of advice to that kid and to anyone listening, it would be to focus on adding value and over-delivering for the people that have raised their hands for you rather than focusing on these numbers that I shared in the beginning. Because that's going to occur as a byproduct. And what I found is that the months where it's at the lowest and you're not meeting those goals is probably because you have your priorities misaligned. So the biggest things that I have done and that I would tell anyone who's starting and what you need to do. So the first thing, you need to post more content. It's not even just about posting content. It's about finding one thing and being very consistent with it. Go very deep. One platform, one audience. So a lot of this comes down to how you brand yourself. I personally prefer LinkedIn, and I'm going to talk about what I did and what I would recommend for anyone to do is get consistent on LinkedIn. Your writing is going to suck at first, and by definition of you having no audience, it doesn't matter. Overcome that imposter syndrome. Put out your work. Put out the kind of work that you want to get, not the kind of work that you might be doing. So be working on case studies. Use the time when you're first building as an opportunity to set the foundation. So post the work that you want to get and or case studies once they start to come in. Testimonials go a long way. Get consistent to posting and sharing other day. Every single day, relentlessly, every single day. And I can't emphasize, this is why I literally led with this, is that you can only, and we'll talk about in-person networking and marketing and business growth in a minute, but that is only so scalable as to how much time you have to invest in that. Content is infinite. The internet is infinite. So if you can add that leverage to anything that you do, get consistent with posting. It doesn't have to be on LinkedIn. It can be on any platform. By the way, if you're a marketing leader or a business owner and you want to start your reading habit, the Essential Marketer's Reading Checklist, the best books on business and marketing that you can browse through, test drive, see if you like, included difficulties, page summaries, actionable quotes, and a link to the cheapest place online if you want to buy it and read the whole thing for yourself. Literally a place to test drive a library of all the most helpful books on business without having to buy it beforehand and give you a chance if you want to see if you like it. First link in the description. And the other side of posting content is to engage with others. So you have to be doing outreach. You have to be talking to people that could be hiring you, whether they're other marketing leaders in your area, agency owners, creative directors, people that are in your niche, and get ruthlessly consistent with reaching out to them daily and making sure that your work, your content gets in front of them. The next thing I would do, number 2, networking. So if you're local in Columbus, there's a ton of great areas for this. Some of my favorites have been the Columbus Chamber, any Chamber of Commerce. There's referral groups, AMP Spirit, BNI. Just reach out to people and have conversations. Learn about the industry, learn about what the kind of work that you want to do. And through this, I've found that I know there's those projects that excite me, there's opportunities that excite me, and you have to use the filter of the people that you meet to, because like I said, at the beginning, you're going to be scraping the bottom of the barrel. You should be saying yes to everything. And once you get over the imposter syndrome of not charging enough money and getting into that mindset, you have to have opportunities to draw from and first to prove your value. And that comes through getting your name, your work out there, and talking to people. So especially in adjacent industries. So my favorite networking group is probably Columbus AMA. American Marketing Association is great for anyone that's in marketing or if you're a designer. This is a great audience for you because all these people in marketing have adjacent skill sets. There's projects that need to expand scope. And just outside of work, you get a sense of the pulse of what other freelancers or marketers are charging. That's helped me a ton. And it helps me to overcome my own imposter syndrome when I see other people that are doing the same thing. So you want to get in rooms with people that you want to be like. And my last real piece of advice, just real talk, is to brand yourself. And these are very high level overview principles of the things that I would tell myself right away to get started. But this is the most important thing. And I had this conversation with Lacey Picasso on the podcast last year. And if you're looking to network more, a podcast is a great thing you can do to build your own network, and I highly recommend. But branding yourself is actually so important. Tim Ferriss has this quote where he says, life will punish the vague ask and reward the specific. Life will punish the vague wish and reward the specific ask. When you meet someone, you have to tell them, as I quote Lacey Picasso, you have to tell people exactly what you want. You have to let them know who you are, what you do, and how it adds value to them. Because they will forget so much more quickly than you will. When you get in front of somebody, when you shake hands, when you meet people, you have to remember the times when you were struggling. You have to remember the times when you would have killed to have the opportunities that you had now. And you have to put yourself in uncomfortable situations sometimes. And if you're an introvert, like I think a lot of freelancers, creatives, marketers are, this is going to be the biggest overcome. And it was for me. But I tell you, it is so addicting and it is so positive of a feedback loop when you put yourself out there. And you will get to a lot of no's. So my final piece of advice to you would be to get to know, be transparent, and don't let no's take you down. You have to view it as every no when you're sending out proposals, when you're streamlining your process, is to see no's as one step closer to the next yes. So those are the 4 things that I would tell myself right away. If you want to start a business in 2025, if you want to start a freelance career in marketing, those are the 4 things that I would tell that kid, and I would tell to anyone who either doesn't have clients or want to get started. Because, man, like I said, I don't even feel like I should be recording this or giving advice. This is literally just screenshots of everything that I've done, and it's such an overcome in my own head to feel like that this has happened for me in the first 10 months. And this isn't a case study success story. I left that job with a very spiteful mindset and the impression of proving people wrong. And now that I have a North Star that's aligned on service and providing value to others rather than spiting and proving other people wrong, I think it's very important to get that mindset of mine as well. So know the North Star and follow these things that I've told you today: content, daily posts, engaging with others, networking, chambers of commerce's referral groups, start a podcast, brand yourself, and be relentlessly on telling people what you do and how you can help them. So that's my biggest pieces of advice for you guys. Thanks for tuning into Marketing by Design, powered by AMA Columbus, and we'll see you all next week. Peace out.